We're going to go over a lot, but first and foremost, we got some very special programming information to give you guys. You guys will be super excited about this in terms of what we're going to do moving forward with this show. Also, we'll get into predictions. It's a couple days before the first game. You got to get the predictions in for the AFC. We'll talk about division winners. We'll talk about playoff contenders, and we'll also tell you exactly who we think will make the playoffs. We're going to have a jam-packed show a couple days before the game. It's going to be a great episode of the Locked On Brown podcast coming up next.
You are Locked On Browns, your daily Cleveland Browns podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends, your daily delivery of all things Dog Pound, LGB on the LOB, the Locked On Browns podcast, brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Can you feel it? Can you feel it, folks? It's back. We going live. Football is back. Had a big week up until this point here. We've had some time with Joe Thomas, prepping everybody for the Browns 2022 season. Some talks here. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey going to be a big stopping point for the Browns on Sunday. Crossover Thursday with Julian Council. I hope you guys got into that. Some good stuff from Julian, as he's, transitioning now to the life of Baker Mayfield and, what this game means for both franchises on Sunday. Today, we got an announcement to make, and we're going to get to that. We're going to get to AFC North predictions. We're going to get to AFC predictions. You got to get everything on record. Freezing cold takes. They're there for the existence, man. They got to be able there to get you. So you got to put some stuff on wax, so to speak. Your host, Jeff Lloyd, at Jeff_LJ_Lloyd. Mr. Garrett Bush, part of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. The Barbershop, 92.3, The Fan, of course, pregame, postgame coverage over there as well. Plenty of spots to check out G. Bush this upcoming season, and make sure you're following at G. Bush 91. This episode is brought to you by BrightCo, jewelry and watch insurance. BrightCo brings you comprehensive, fast, and affordable jewelry insurance for as low as $5 per month. Check out your special offer for Locked On listeners and get covered in under 2 minutes at bright.co/locked on. That's bright.co/locked on. There's been a lot of talk here, how we're going to handle post-game coverage. The key is to get you guys coverage as quickly as possible. I mean, the whole point of post-game is supposed to be instant reaction. Garrett, a little bit of a difficult spot where he's here with Locked On Browns and the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. We have always done a post-game show at Locked On Browns. Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show wants to do a post-game show. We're trying to do it both live. Ain't no way I can have G. Bush in two places at one time. Look, Garrett's good, but ain't nobody that good. So what we decided to do here is, through the Locked On Browns YouTube channel, through the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show channel, I am going to join Garrett. I'm going to join Bull, and I'm going to join Mike. It'll be a 4-man panel. The show will air live on both channels. So we're trying to just give you the best stuff we can. I'm excited to join them over there, bring a different voice over there. Those guys, look, after 3 months together, it's always good to bring something new in over there. So we're going to have a blast with this. Truly excited about this. Chance for both shows to grow even more. And look, it's a lot of this comes down to you. I mean, the success that Locked On Browns has had going to YouTube has been tremendous and a big spot in this. Also, the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show is just absolutely killing it. So, and it will be available for Locked On Browns. It will go up audio-wise for podcasts for those of you, that aren't YouTube people yet. But we're certainly going to give you the best coverage we can. Excited to, join forces with Garrett on just yet another venture here.
This is what we've been waiting for. It gives you an opportunity to have on that panel with Adam the Bull, who's a veteran in the radio industry. We'll be with Mikey McNuggets. And then you got, me and Jeff, half of the Locked On Browns podcast. So it's all awesome to get Jeff's expertise and bring him on there. I'm already super comfortable with working with Jeff, and I think it's just going to bring another dynamic to bringing you the best Browns, content. That's why it's important for you to hit the notification bell and subscribe, so you'll know exactly when we're going to be going on. We're going to go on every fourth quarter, right at the 2-minute warning. So the great part about it is you'll get an opportunity to get that content, and we'll be still talking to you. If it's a great game, we'll be kind of watching the game with you. So we'll be seeing it live with you, and giving yourself an opportunity to opine. And then the great thing about going live is when you are typing and chatting, we get to put your comments on the screen.
Before we start, going to segment 2 here in AFC North predictions, Garrett, we talked about this, and I thought it was really important now that the Browns, after 2 years, said, you know what, we're going to start slapping some C's on some chests, some captain titles to these guys. And even still, look, and for me, part of it was the reason of there's 52 guys on this roster who are really solid individuals as far as representing the team, the city, charitable contributions, not even showing up at charitable contributions, throwing them themselves. And these guys deserve to be recognized. And part of it is, hey, not everybody is, facing what the quarterback was going through. There are players like Myles Garrett, Joel Bitonio, Nick Chubb, Anthony Walker, Charlie Hewlett, that these guys are distinguished members of this team. And we point the finger at those guys and tell other people who are new here, you conduct yourself like that. That's how this team runs. And the Browns have done that. I think it's really, really important. And I think, and for me, it's recognizing. They didn't just slap C's on guys' chests because they're some of the better players on this team. Coincidentally enough, some of the best players on this team are also 100% quality individuals off the field. But the importance of understanding and pointing out that this roster is not based off of one person, and there are some really, really solid human beings that are on this Cleveland Browns roster, Garrett.
Yeah, despite what people may think, when you get this C on your chest, a lot of people think it's just for window dressing. It's just to show up, and they got to do it because the rest of the league does it. No, a lot when you look down, and as a player, when you look down and you need a play to be made, or when you get a turnover, or when there's some adversity that hits, and you look down and you go to line up wherever you had a running back, receiver, put your hand in the dirt as an offensive, defensive line. You look at that C and you say, I got to make a play because my team is looking at me. My team is looking up to me. My team counts on me. So that C means something. It's just a subtle reminder to those guys that, listen, you guys are pivotal to what we want to do. The other 52, 53 guys are going to follow you. So we expect the expectation is that you carry yourself the same way on and off the field. And I think that's a great way. And two guys in general, when you talk about Nick Chubb and Myles Garrett, those two guys are going to have dynamite first 11 games if the Browns want to do anything this year. And for so long, we've seen those two guys, and we said how talented they are. I'm looking forward to Coach Stefanski and the team leaning on them. And when they need a big play on third down, you look at Myles Garrett. When you need to salt the game away and pound that rock, and you go into that 5-minute offense where the other team is trying to use timeouts and you want to run the clock out, I'm looking forward to Nick Chubb.
You need to accentuate your positives. That's always something I truly believe in. And for the Browns, it bodes well for them that, the best players on this team are not just individuals. They are guys that you want your other players to act like. They are the guys that are going to keep everything together. And I think it was really important the Browns did that this year with all that's gone on. So kudos to Andrew Berry, Kevin Stefanski. Definitely think that they made a smart move here. We're going to get to AFC North predictions right after this. Then we're going to get to general AFC playoff thoughts. Who's going to play in the Super Bowl representing the AFC? Jeff Lloyd, Garrett Bush, your latest Locked On Browns. I cannot tell you enough about BrightCo. First things first, you got to go check it out. They're ads to draw you for jewelry insurance, just absolutely hysterical. You got to check out the videos. Look, here's the lesson. You don't want to be that guy, and you certainly don't want it splattered all over the internet. The guys at BrightCo Jewelry Insurance will make sure you get a replacement for the full value of that ring. Don't be the schmuck that kicked it off the bridge as you were trying to propose. No matter if it's lost, stolen, you just can't figure out what happened to it. Go to bright.co/locked on. It's the fastest, easiest, and cheapest way to cover your butt with the best jewelry insurance in the business. Tonight, I'm looking at a lot of matchups here, and we are certainly sitting down here now, and we are talking about prize picks. I love to use daily fantasy for primetime games. It gives you a little bit more extra skin in the game, especially if your team's not playing. Looking at over-unders for Josh Allen, Matthew Stafford, over-unders. Are we really concerned about that elbow? Is Cam Akers back to 100%? Cooper Kupp, Gabe Davis, Stephon Diggs. You like wide receivers. This is a game to put some money on. It's simple. It's easy to use. You can put up in a lineup quick. Click some buttons, hit enter. It is just that simple. Pick 2 to 5 players. And if they go score more or less than the prize picks projection, you can win up to 10 times your money on any entry. You're not competing against other people. It's just you versus the projections available. Prize Picks offers projections on any sport you watch: the NFL, the NBA, college football, college basketball, WNBA, NASCAR, even golf. Entries can be made in 60 seconds or less. It is that easy. Safe and fast withdrawals. Currently operational in over 30 states and Canada. Download the Prize Picks app or go to PrizePicks.com right now and play daily fantasy sports. First-time use can receive a 100% deposit match up to $100 with the promo code LOCKEDON. If you deposit 100, PrizePicks gives you 100. You deposit 50, you got it, kids. PrizePicks will give you 50. Don't forget to enter the promo code LOCKEDON at sign up for an instant deposit match of up to $100.
Welcome back to the Locked On Browns podcast. G. Bush, Jeff Lloyd in the building. Make sure you follow us at GBush91. Make sure you follow at Jeff_LJ_Lloyd. Gave you some very great information about where the show is moving for the Browns post game. Make sure you're definitely subscribing. You don't want to miss it. The notification bell is going to be very pivotal in getting those updates sent directly to your smartphone or wherever you go. And we want to also say, yes, we are doing what we're doing here on YouTube, but we want you to still continue to make the Locked On Browns your first listen of the day. And you can download our podcast wherever you get your podcast at. Jeff, it's time to throw those predictions in there, man. You know, you can't have no show. You can't have a 2022 season unless you're getting the predictions of where we're going from AFC to the NFC. And I guess further, we should just start with the AFC North. When you look at it, the AFC North is going to be one of the most competitive leagues. I would put it just a little bit below the AFC West. They've had some really good additions of what Denver's doing. That league is going to be very difficult. I think they got the best quarterback play, but the AFC North is right below that. I think they still going to be a very competitive league. We have Baltimore. We'll be following the storylines with Baltimore all year long. Lamar Jackson doesn't have a contract. We'll see how that goes. And I think, you know, whether or not they miss Marquise Hollywood Brown, they got J.K. Dobbins back, and it looks like they just want to go back to where they were very good when he was MVP and they were running the football. We'll see if that really pans out and if they'll be able to continue to do that at a high level. You take a look at what's in Cincinnati, probably one of the best young receiving cores, young offenses in the game. Joe Mixon. You talk about Tyler Boyd. You talk about T. Higgins, and of course Jamar Chase, who just jumped onto the scene and looked like a top 5 receiver in the league as a rookie, and Joe Burrow, who honestly is probably a top 3 to 5 quarterback. We know what Joe can do behind center. And then, of course, the Pittsburgh Steelers. They still have people, Deontay Johnson. They still got Chase Claypool. Najee Harris is a guy who's going to get a lot of touches. The only question mark with them is exactly who they're going to be at quarterback. So they're naming Mitch Trubisky the starter, but they drafted a young quarterback, and if they start off slow, don't be surprised to see Kenny Pickett. For me, I look at this division as a 1, 2, 3, 1 or 2 games between the top division leader and the bottom. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers will probably come in last place, but I still think that they can get 8 wins. I think they're a 7 to 8 win team. If they overachieve, they might get 9. I have them coming in last place. I actually have coming in first place. I'm going to have the Bengals going in first place. I think the Bengals will win the division. I think that the Cleveland Browns will be in position for the second spot. And I think the Cleveland Browns will be in a position to get a wild card. So I think the Browns will, and I'll go on a limb and say this, I think the Browns will make the playoffs. There's a couple of games that they got to get that people don't think they'll get. But I think the Browns will make the playoffs as a wild card. And I got out of the AFC North. I got the Bengals coming out winning the division. And I think the Baltimore Ravens will have a 9-8 season. I think they'll be pretty good. I just think that they'll lose a couple games that they probably shouldn't, and the Browns will win a couple games that might be touch and go, and they'll be able to do something when Deshaun Watson get back. So I think for me, I'm gonna go with the Bengals winning the title, and then I'll go with the Cleveland Browns who make a wild card. What are your thoughts on the division?
I'm going to go similar to what you did. I'm going to go bottom to top here. And look, there is so much national media and all media that just seem to be so ready. And look, if your hatred for the Cleveland Browns because of the move they made is there, I get it. But to look at this roster and the way it's constructed and just basically think that this is a team that is going to fall all over themselves, I just don't see it. The team is structured. You have the right type of personalities in that locker room. You have leaders who are also great players, who are also your top players, which you don't always get. I think the structure is there. I think the balance is there for this team to be solid. I do agree. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be the fourth place team in this division. When you were talking about, we don't necessarily know who our quarterback is. Obviously, Kenny Pickett at some point is going to be the quarterback of that football team. When you talk about, and our buddy Chris Carter, who also Locked On Steelers, I see 2-3 segments a week from episodes he's putting out. And it's still big questions about the offensive line. Well, you got questions about your offensive line. That's big. That's huge. And look, Najee Harris, I'm not denying Najee Harris is a nice running back. But again, if you're telling me you have offensive line problems and we're starting Mitch Trubisky, well, guess what? I'm taking Najee Harris away. Mitch Trubisky, he ain't beat nobody yet. So guess what? Until Mitch Trubisky does beat somebody with his arm, that's the way I'm going to roll with it. That's the way I'm going to take care of it. And I think contingent. And look, I'm not saying Kenny Pickett can't be a good quarterback in this league. Question is going to be, where do they go to him? And there's going to be a little bit of an adjustment period for Kenny Pickett. Your fourth place team in the AFC North this year, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Third place. Look, I've been on this, and maybe I'll change tomorrow, as tomorrow is the deadline. Lamar Jackson has given the Ravens, which is a joke, an absolute joke on the Baltimore Ravens. Why is this man not paid? Are you kidding me? A former NFL MVP led you to a number 1 seed. Granted, you didn't win that game, but these are all things he's done. Again, same spot contract-wise as Baker Mayfield. What is going on in Baltimore? Pay your dude. So if you're not going to get this done by tomorrow, and I tell you right now, I think this is made for difficult decisions within players in that locker room. One of the reasons Hollywood Brown said, you know what, it don't look like you're going to pay my boy. So I'm going to get the heck up and out of here now. Because I ain't guaranteed I'm going to be playing with this guy. So we ain't even going to start talking whether or not I'm going to stay here long term. I'm going to go somewhere else. If you ain't sure you're going to commit to Lamar, I'm pretty damn sure you ain't going to commit to me. Right. So third place, Baltimore Ravens. Cincinnati Bengals. I think the Bengals is going to be a little bit of a step back. Look, let's be honest. Were they the best team in the AFC last year? No, they weren't. They lost to the Browns twice. You lost to Baker Mayfield once. Jesse Bates, awkward situation, similar to Lamar Jackson in Cincinnati. What you doing? You got a dude. And you can now, if you're the Bengals, you're in a position now where guys will commit to you. They look around and say, hey, there's enough good players here, man.
And you still got Joe Burrow on a rookie deal. This is the time you pay those guys, right?
100%. Look, you got a player like Jesse Bates, one of your best players, and he's got to come in and play on a tag. Come on, man. Pay your talent. This is the way it's supposed to go in this league. Especially, look, you're homegrown. This is the only advantage you got. You're not usually going to go out, and the Bengals can't compete in the free agent market with some teams. They just ain't got it like that financially. Get you guys taken care of. But the Bengals, I think there's going to be a little bit of a step back for the Cincinnati Bengals. Not saying they're not a good team. I think they're maybe just a team that got there too early. Look, if it's the homer in me, whatever, and I've done this for 5 years in a row, it's more of the point of this team is being completely disrespected in Cleveland. I'm sorry. And look, you can think of Jacoby Brissett whatever you want. But what I'm going to tell you is if this defense plays the way it's supposed to play, it's supposed to be a top 5 defense. Well, guess what? If they're a top 5 defense, they're not a team that's only going to win 6 games. It don't work that way. It does not work that way. You still have Nick Chubb. You still have Kareem Hunt. You still got a top shelf offensive line. And you got a quarterback in Jacoby Brissett. He's not going to set the world on fire, But in the same respect, when he sees gasoline on the floor, he ain't going to drop a match and burn it all down. The guy plays smart. He plays intelligent. He does not turn the ball over. There's going to be a sack or two that we're all going to go, oh, what are you doing there? But his thought process is take the sack, punt it, get the defense on the field. Don't throw a stupid interception like we saw plenty of in 2021. So I think the Browns, it can be done. The path is there. And the way this defense is built with new, young, hybrid defenders to go against Lamar Jackson, to go against all the speed Cincinnati's going to put. I think the Browns, I think it can be done. I truly do think it can be done, G.
Yeah, I do too. I think it's going to even be a little more special because here's the thing. I think there's going to be a lot of people that's behind the Cleveland Browns because guess what? There's a lot of people in the national media that have kind of lumped everything together. The bad publicity about Deshaun Watson is kind of tainted the way they think about this roster, and it's almost as if they've taken some of the luster away and some of the accolades in the they're just downplaying how good certain people in this roster are. And I think that when the Browns get out here and starting against Carolina, I think they'll show people that forgot. This is how we roll. This is how good we are. And these are the playmakers we have. And I'm looking forward to that too.
Without question. Certainly. I mean, look, I'm excited for this team. And I think the key word I keep coming back to is team. This is a team. This ain't just some individuals like they tried to throw together with Odell when they did that move. No, this is about an overall 53-man roster. We're going to get to our AFC thoughts here as we roll on back here. Jeff Lloyd, Garrett Bush, your latest Locked On Browns. BetOnline.net is your number one source for all your pro and college football betting needs and sports info this season. Find all the latest football league developments, game matchups, news, and podcasts, including this year's opening week games. BetOnline is also a continued source for all your sporting wagering information, including live betting, esports, and scores. The fastest and easiest way to check in on all your favorite sports and events, including MLB, the MMA, boxing, and even golf. Head to the website today or use a mobile device to learn more about the trends in action. BetOnline, where the game starts.
Welcome back to Locked On Browns podcast. Me and Jeff, we're going to do this thing up. Now it's time to get to the rest of our predictions. We talked about the AFC North. Let's go around the rest of the AFC and give our division winners. And we already I said the Browns will make the wild card. We'll give you another 2 wild card teams that you should look out for. And we'll start with the AFC East. I think this is the easiest division to pick, but I think the Buffalo Bills are a Super Bowl contending team. Out of the AFC East, I'm looking at this. AFC East, I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen, I think, and you heard it here first, I think he'll win the MVP this year. I think Josh Allen will take a step up. I think he may have one of his best years. I think he may actually get about 700-800 yards on the ground. I think he might be in the runnings for throwing for 500, and I think 5,000 yards. And I think he might be one of the most prolific seasons we've seen in a long time at quarterback. I'll go with the Buffalo Bills. That's where I'm gonna go. When you hit the AFC West, this is the toughest division. Kansas City is the beast out there. And I know you can't count them out, but I really think Tyreek Hill is going to hurt them. Travis Kelce, he's pushing 34, which is crazy. He's playing at one of the highest levels we've seen as a tight end. However, when you don't have that guy over the top, when you don't got the guy that can just kind of open the whole field up, and then Kelce can work underneath, and some of your other lesser guys can work underneath, I think it's going to be a very big uphill battle for Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes to get guys the football and do it at the prolific way that they've been doing it. I'm going to go in that division. Even though the Broncos are better than I thought, they're better than they were last year. They got Russell Wilson. I like their receiving core. I think they got one of the most underrated offenses as far as their running backs and receivers go. However, I'm going to go with the Chargers. I think Herbert takes another step. Austin Eckler is a guy who's a very underrated back. They went out and get Khalil Mack, and they got 2 great receivers. And Mike Williams kind of stepped up, and they came back and got him. So they got 2 stud receivers. I think the Chargers in LA will win that division. Let's take a look. We already talked about the AFC North. I had the Bengals winning that division. I had the Browns getting the wild card there. And then we go to the AFC South. I think this is once again the Tennessee Titans division. They are helped out mightily by the fact that they play the Texans, Colts, and Jaguars, and they are not really elite in my mind. However, I believe the Tennessee Titans still have, I would say steady quarterback play. Derrick Henry, you know what they're going to do, and they're going to run the football. I'll take them out of the South. And if I got two more wild cards, I really believe that there's another wild card that's potentially going to come out of the AFC West. I'm going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs winning that wild card. And I think it may be a division where they get three teams. I think they'll get three teams. I think the wild card is between the Raiders out of the West and the Patriots in the AFC East. And I think the Dolphins will be in that mix as well. But I'm going to go with the last wild card being the Raiders out of the AFC West. AFC West gets three teams in the playoffs, and I think that's where you go. And I think those were the wild cards and the teams that'll make it. Your thoughts?
I'm in line with you on some things. I am. I think the Bills, and I was talking about this a little today on Twitter. Why are the Bills such a popular AFC team representative for the Super Bowl this year? I think they got the easiest division. So, I mean, they should roll hopefully into January, into the playoffs, probably the freshest, because it's not going to take a lot for them to get there in the AFC East. So, obviously, I have the Bills winning that. I think the Colts are actually going to pull out the AFC South. Look, you got Ryan Tannehill there. Obviously, Malik Willis is there, and it's not, maybe he's not taking time from him this year. But maybe the Titans feel like maybe their time and the path they've ridden with Ryan Tannehill is done. You can try to explain that AJ Brown trade to me any way you want. I ain't buying it. I ain't having it. Your second best playmaker you moved on from, and I'm supposed to think you're going to improve. I'm sorry. I got a difficult time with that. AFC West, look, if you can get this right, that's great. I mean, yeah, you have a 25% chance to pick this division right, but and I almost feel bad because there's probably going to be a team from the AFC West that doesn't make the playoffs who probably deserves to, because that's how good that division is. I'm going to go with the Chiefs. The only reason I'm going to go with the Chiefs is they're closer to what they were last year and making the playoffs than what the Chargers were and what the Broncos were. You're talking for big steps for the Chargers to go win a division. You're talking for even big steps for the Broncos to go win this division. Obviously, my AFC North picked the Browns. 3 playoff teams. I will go with the Chargers. I will go with the Miami Dolphins, and I will go with the Denver Broncos. For me, and then we'll kick it to Garrett. Maybe it seems like the easiest choice now, and it seems to be, obviously everybody seems to be on it, that the Buffalo Bills are going to make it out of the AFC. I agree with it. The defense is good. Josh Allen, it just seems Josh Allen gets better every season. If they can get Gabe Davis to play like he did against the Chiefs, knowing you already have Stephon Diggs, I think the rookie James Cook, the running back for them, is going to be enormous. Solid talent, but a great receiver. So if somebody starts to come up with some sort of blanket coverage to hopefully take away the deep stuff that the Bills can do, you're going to have to deal with a guy like James Cook, underneath. And this guy's receiving ability is ridiculous. So there's, my 7 playoff teams and my AFC representative. I think it's going to be a monster year for all things Buffalo and Josh Allen.
Yeah. I think Buffalo is great. Think about this, and when you talk about the playoffs, all those teams we mentioned, you don't want to play none of them. You don't want, even when you make the playoffs, I'm looking at it like, well, man, Patriots, Dolphins are.
The Browns played the NFC South this year, and it feels like those are so much easier games than everything else on their schedule.
Oh, they are. So let's be real. They are. They're much easier. So one thing I will say, though, there's nobody that's going to say, we're going to find out what the harder the team is, because if the Browns make the playoffs this year, and I'll say this, we talking about postseason, I think Kevin Stefanski, if they make the playoffs this year, will probably be in contention for Coach of the Year. He should get Coach of the Year. Given the fact that what he went through in the offseason, given the fact that it's a new quarterback, backup quarterback, you would have to implement Deshaun Watson back in. And with all that being said, you still make the playoffs. If they do that, he's going to win another Coach of the Year trophy as well.
All right, so we got to a ton here today. And again, the news, Locked On Browns, Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. We will work in unison as far as post-game coverage. 2-minute warning every Browns game. We will go live on both YouTube channels. It will be available in podcast form afterwards. Garrett, myself, Adam the Bull, Mikey McNuggets. There'll definitely be some laughs, and there might be some weeks. Well, it could be a tear or two. Who knows? But we're going to have a lot of fun with it. We're going to do it only the way we can by going at the 2-minute warning. There could be games that are still in doubt, and basically you're going to sit here and you're going to go through it with us, and you'll watch it with us, and we'll see how the way it all breaks down. So very, very excited for that. So obviously post-game wise, that is where this is at. We'll get at you again tomorrow with the regular show. Then next you'll hear from us. Figure about maybe 3:50, 3:55 Sunday afternoon. Fire it up on the YouTube channels, and you'll find Garrett and myself. We got to our AFC North predictions. We got to our AFC predictions. Tomorrow we will basically go, Friday practice when you used to play back in the day. You put the unis on. You go out there, go simple. So we're going to do that. We're going to get our final thoughts on Carolina. We'll give our NFC thoughts. Got to have this stuff down. Like, again, old takes those bows, man. They're there to get you for something, bro. So we're going to continue to do that. It's been a great week this far. Obviously, Joe Thomas talking about some of the key matchups ourselves in this game tomorrow. Julian Council from Locked On Panthers. Great episode there. So we got to a ton here today. He is Garrett Bush, Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Of course, co-host of Locked On Browns. The Barbershop, 92.3 The Fan. And, of course, plenty other opportunities over 92.3 The Fan to catch Garrett. Make sure you're following at GBush91. Myself, Jeff Lloyd, at Jeff_LJ_Lloyd. Show itself at Locked On Browns. Follow back account. DMs are open. To everybody who makes Locked On Browns their first listen every day, we appreciate you, whether it's in podcast form. Make sure you subscribe following the show, or, of course, now on YouTube, subscribe. And, of course, leave those notifications on. So as soon as the content hits, you are ready, like Sunday, when the post-game show goes live. Make sure you have those notifications on. Of course, 5-star ratings, reviews all around, please, and thank you. All that being said, this has been your daily delivery of all things Dog Pound. LGB on the LOB. Let's go Browns.